Wings and L.A. Law return next Thursday with all new episodes. Now stay tuned for David Letterman's 10th anniversary special.
Believe me, I'm just as sick as you are about preempting L.A. Law.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
I just feel like your voice kind of comes from what you're absorbing. And certainly we've seen loads of people who just do a straight up imitation of the art styles that most affect them. And I don't see a real downside to that, aside from when you start just outright swiping specific compositions. But if you really like the way a certain artist has built their work, see if that can lend an effect on you with the way you shape your art style. Why not? I mean, I'm still reflecting the influence from the artists that affected me 40 years ago, and I don't see any reason to stop.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Sutras here, and man, it's been a long time coming for a brand new Rucka Debrief. Greg Rucka, ladies and gentlemen, good to see you, man.
Hey, John. How long has it been? Like 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, you were working on the old guard, I think.
Last time? The first one or the second?
I think it was the second one. I do think it was the second one.
The second one would be 22. Yeah. So
you've been busy, buddy. It's cool. This shit happens. That's all right.
The problem with comics is that when you're not on the stands, you cease to exist. And so I am back from the dead, it seems.
Well, and firing on all cylinders, and we're going to talk about two different books. This is the second issue of Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League, a fantastic caper in progress. And of course, we'll also be talking about Lazarus. Now, that's an earlier issue.
Yeah, that's the latest one. Yeah, Fallen #3.
Yes, sir.
The final series is underway. Issue 3 now. So
3 of 20, correct?
Yeah, 95% chance we're going to go 20. 5% chance it may go 21 or 22. I don't want to rush it, and there's a lot. There's a lot. Like the first arc ends with issue 6, Rise ends with issue 6, and then Resist will be 5 issues. And then the next arc will be 5 issues, and then we'll have right now a 4-issue final arc, which is sort of a vague symmetry to how the series began in the original run. The first arc was a 4-issue arc, but I haven't written the end yet. Like, I know where I'm going, but you know, the writing tends to reveal the writing reveals mistakes, and it reveals misapprehensions one may have made about one's own story. So I'm trying to be a little not to sound precious about it. I'm trying to it's a living thing, so we'll see what it needs. Because sure. I don't want to screw up the ending. Not after almost, by the time we finish, we'll have been doing it for almost 15 years. So I'd like to get it right. So
100 issues, Greg, close to it?
No, I mean, so the initial series was 28. And then Risen was 7, but Risen was effectively double size. So what is that? That's 30, so maybe 42. And then
Okay.
another 20, so that's 62.
62. Okay.
But, I mean, we went the better part of 3 years without putting out anything. And we put out an issue in 22 and an issue in 21. And I'm not proud of it, nor am I happy of it, even, though even if it's in the past. So one of the things that I really wanted to do this time for Fallen, and I was pretty explicit to Michael about it, was the issues need to be in the stores when we say they're going to be in the stores. Yeah. And the fans of Lazarus have been really faithful. Like, they will wait, but it's not a kindness to them to abuse their good nature. And then on top of that, it's a mean thing to do to retailers. And then in this market, I can't get arrested in this market right now because I haven't been around. No, I haven't been around. And people are going to be like, so like, orders are soft on the numbers. Orders are always going to be soft on my image stuff unless it does something crazy like the Old Guard and breaks out, right? And I suspect Old Guard took off far more due to Leo, right, and his art than anything I had to do with it. Lazarus is a gorgeous book. I think it's career-defining work for Michael Lark. But there are stores that they just don't order it. They're just not ordering it. And the problem there, of course, is that in this broken social media landscape and everything, there's no way for me to get the word out there, right? So I started the newsletter like 6 months ago now, and I feel like I have things to say in the newsletter, but I also feel like half the time I'm saying, hey, buy the books. The books are out. The books are coming out. Here's the books. Get the books. Damn it. Tell your friends to get the books. It's just the nature of it. For some people right now, like, if we called it Absolute Lazarus, we'd probably be selling really well. So,
You're not wrong. I'm hip.
And that's not knocking the Absolute line. I want to.
Of course not. Yeah.
Yeah, I hasten to point that out. Hello, Diane. Hello, Zach. And I see Ken.
Yes, indeed. I'll get to Ken's question
when
we're talking about Cheetah and Cheshire. But I did want to start with Lazarus because I think it needs more love. And,
and you've now read all of the first arc, so.
But regardless, Greg, I go ahead and finish your thought. Excuse me.
Well, I was going to say, which is one of the benefits, right? Like, Michael is finishing up issue 9 now, so at least the first 2 arcs will come out on schedule.
Beautiful,
right?
Attaboy.
The last 2 arcs, I think there's probably going to be a delay between the end of arc 2 and the start of arc 3, which I'm not in love with, but that's what it is.
Okay.
But we'll see. Michael may surprise me.
Well, and you do take a break in between arcs as well, and you made that clear with the first issue back as well.
Yeah, I very clearly laid out this is the plan, and still, people picked up that issue and were like, "Oh, I guess it ends in 6 issues." Like, nobody reads the back matter. It's like, guys, read the damn letter column.
Yeah, Greg, honestly, I'm thrilled that you put the essays in the back. It's what I've loved about Brubaker, and even going back to Casanova when Fraction and the brothers were doing that stuff. Is there still room? Was it Eric Troutman, that was doing the fake ads of the world of Lazarus?
Troutman still does a lot of the artifact designs, but the guy who's doing them now is named Richard Howe, Conrad Richard Howe, in fact, and he and Eric became friends because in Eric's design work, Eric was making back in the day Adobe Illustrator designs that he was then selling very cheaply through his website as assets that people could use in graphic design. And Richard is a professional graphic designer who specifically works in Hollywood. He He does a lot of poster stuff.
Wow.
He is highly in demand. He's exceptionally talented. And at some point, Eric sort of, I guess, showed him enough virtual leg or something to say, come here. So Richard's now doing them more often than Eric, or Richard and Eric are doing them together.
Okay.
There are a couple coming up. I just saw the one for issue 5.
Okay.
Which is it's unbelievable. It's a Carlisle genetics ad, basically. It's an ad for like, you've done all these years of service to the family. You may be eligible for, genetic restructuring, and it's beautiful and creepy as fuck. And the ad before that is a packaged tour ad to, like, how like you take those European tours and it's like, visit Greece, the birthplace of democracy and so on. It's like, visit Greece, the birthplace of capitalism. And it's literally it's just like, oh my God. They're so well done. Richard does such good work, and they're the kind of satire that's cutting so close to the bone, you're not sure. It's like, I'm not sure this is funny. I think it just hurts. So,
unfortunately, yeah. Well, you could say that about the entire Lazarus experience. We're heading down that path, man. Listen, and again, I would imagine. Well, yeah. Sadly, it's probably tomorrow. But for people who love Rucka and really only know him from his DC or Marvel work, Lazarus, fantastic series that Greg and Michael Lark have been doing, and of course Michael Lark, he and Greg and Ed Brubaker were doing Gotham Central back in the day. But this is a future where governments have collapsed, very wealthy corporate families have taken over,
basically,
and our
tech bros took over the world.
There you go. And for our we're following Forever Carlisle of the Carlisle family, and she is our when she starts, she's an enforcer for the Carlisle family.
She is the titular Lazarus. She is assassin, soldier, pseudo diplomat for the Carlisle family, which is arguably the most powerful family in the world. Each family, or most families, have a Lazarus who is sort of the embodiment of their particular technological prowess, invested into this person who is supposed to be the champion for that family. So it's a neo-feudalist world. It's a world that, when we started, was ruled by really 12 families, effectively 12 royal families that owned everything that they could possibly own, including the people. And then if you are of significant importance to the family, if you provide a service that the family sees as vital, you are an elevated citizen. You're a serf in this neo-feudal culture, and serfs can live pretty good lives. They get taken care of. And then everybody else is waste. They are literally referred to as waste. They're refuse. They are absolutely disposable labor. And if the serf gig sounds good to you, the odds are you probably wouldn't be one. Like, the percentage population breakdowns are staggering. And way back when we started it in 2013, wow, it was something like 87 individuals controlled something like 90% of the world's wealth. And now in 25, I think it's something like 7. It is, so nobody gets to be surprised when they look at the news. And Michael, I say this all the time, but Michael is fond of saying that when we started, it was dystopian, cautionary science fiction, and now it's a documentary. And He's closer to correct than we care to admit.
I'm with you, man. No, I only laugh because otherwise I'd be crying. So I do understand.
No. And honest to God, John, I was going to say before we went on here, I was like, maybe we shouldn't talk about the politics. And then I was like, I'm not going to say that because I'm going to fucking talk about the politics. You can't talk to me and not talk about the politics. So.
Yeah, but Greg, it's all right. We've talked about politics since day one, and again, there's a reality that it's better not to ignore it, and I appreciate what you and Michael are laying out there and company. Chris says Lazarus Fallen is the best book, the best the book's ever been, and it started out amazing. Agreed. Pete Beiser joining us. Amazing. This book predicted our future. Scary too, indeed. So here we are.
Yeah. I have to say, Chris, buckle up. The arc is a bumpy one. This first arc gets bumpy. It gets dark. So
and
gosh, like that cover.
Case in point, and what is inside as well, everybody. You won't be disappointed, folks. And really, if you didn't come back to it a couple of months ago, this is the August issue, and seek out June. Make sure you order June and July, and get back up to speed because it's great. And really, Greg, you balance the action and the soap opera quite well. And again, this is a comic first and foremost, but I really hope to God you and Michael get this thing made into an adaptation because I think it would be amazing.
I am in LA working on this mystery show that I cannot disclose at the time at this moment, but I had a breakfast with on Saturday with a director who sort of out of the blue, like my manager was like, you should have breakfast with this director. I was like, great, why not? I really like their work. I don't understand why they want to meet with me. Turns out they were a Lazarus fan. So we're sitting there talking, and it was like, and then he sort of said, where is it? I was like, we've got it back. God knows what'll. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll do a live action. Maybe one day we'll do like a proper adult animation thing. But at this point, I don't see us getting another bite at that apple until we're done. And on top of that, here we go with the politics. I find it very hard to imagine that anybody in this political moment wants to do a story about how billionaires are bad and ruining the world. Because all the people who could write the check to make the show are or work for billionaires who are bad and are ruining the world. So,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. No, I mean, Paramount just got bought by the guy that, his
David
dad.
Ellison.
Yeah, David Ellison's dad is, of course, a big tech bro himself.
Guy, founder of Oracle, and multi billionaire.
Yeah,
and David, David got what he wanted because they had the money. David already had Skydance. He already had his own movie studio.
Sure.
Now he's got Paramount. So
I was talking to Rucka last week, and he told me that.
No, I'm Rucka.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Fraction.
That's him.
All right. Warning to everybody: when you start hitting the 60 decade, you think you're saying a word and you're actually saying a different word. So
that's right. I confuse Matt with me all the time, John. So.
Yeah, I don't think so. But but no, regarding Paramount and everything, he was telling me that the guy that they hired to be in charge of their editorial is a massive Star Trek fan. It is Star Trek Day after all.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Greg, I'm not going to argue with you because our mutual friends have told me that you're enjoying new Star Trek. So I don't want to.
I have enjoyed the first. We had this conversation. I enjoyed the first 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds. I can't stand season 3. I loved Lower Decks. I thought Lower Decks was the best thing they'd done in forever. It was such a beautiful love letter to Trek. But hang on a second, I'm getting texts. Even though I hit Do Not Disturb, it's amazing.
Quite all right.
God damn it. Let me hit the Do Not Disturb thing. But yeah, I am.
Yeah, I can.
Here's my problem with Trek.
Oh,
You
please.
say new Trek, which I actually think is really snotty.
It's
and
a
I'll tell you
pejorative.
why.
I won't deny
no.
it's a pejorative.
But,
I agree.
But it's also indicative of the problem, which is everything that's going on right now is cannibalizing itself. They're not doing anything. They're not moving forward. And next year, Trek is 60 years old.
Yep.
Next year, Next Gen's 35 years old.
Right. And Enterprise is 25 years old, I believe, or 20. One of the two.
So
25.
if you watched Kirk and Spock and Bones when you were 10, you're 70. If you watched Picard and Riker and Data and Troy when you were starting college, you're 55. High, right?
Yeah.
Trek is now trapped. And the only thing they've ever done to really move past it, because Starfleet Academy won't do it, despite its attempt to do it. Disco won't do it because it's doing it for all the wrong. It did it for all the wrong reasons. It's trying to move forward, except every step forward is a step to destroy its legacy. This is why Lower Decks was so good. Lower Decks was literally the first show that said this moves us past Voyager. It keeps going and it keeps growing.
True.
Nobody is doing that. Like, you see all the stuff about everybody coming in and pitching their ideas for, the second the Paramount deal went through, you saw all these stories about, we're pitching Kirk year one. Nobody needs Kirk year one.
Nope.
Nobody needs it.
Nope.
We should set it down. All that needs to go away, because good science fiction is allegorical. Original series Trek works. Next Gen works. DS9 works, right? Because they take the current moment and they recast it and they say, we're going to go to the planet where these people are black and white and these people are white and black and they hate each other. What are we actually talking about here?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
And we can laugh at it now because we're going, oh, well, that was 60 years ago. It wasn't terribly sophisticated, but it was what science fiction is supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
And it's not doing it.
Not this year.
And it is, and the thing that is killing Strange New Worlds more than anything else, and you can see the notes as you're looking at it. You can see the studio notes that are saying more hot Spock. People like hot Spock, right? You are literally, you can see that note. Have Ethan take off his shirt more. Ethan should fuck more, right? That's a note. And then the other note is, oh my God, you've got to make it fit into the original series because you said it as a prequel, which means you've got to get everybody on board. And that's why you've got to have Roger Corby come in. Nobody fucking cares about Roger Corby.
I just, Greg,
nobody cares about him.
I don't want to get demonetized. I always tell my co-hosts, it's like easy on the F-bombs. Like, God bless you, son. I'm just as angry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. The bear has been attacked.
Do we have kids in the stream or?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's the bots, son. It's the algorithms that it's like, too many F-bombs.
Oh, right.
Sorry. Whatever. Yeah, that's all right.
Right. I'll say forking. I'll say forking.
There, by all means, or fracking, or have forking or fracking.
No. I'll go with the good place. But yeah, I loved Lower Decks because Lower Decks loved all Star Trek.
Sure.
Like, Lower Decks loved Star Trek that I think personally should not be loved, right? And God bless it for it.
Sure.
Right?
Prodigy was surprisingly good as well, frankly.
Yes. Prodigy was delightful.
Amazed. Yeah. Honestly, and it's, to be honest, I think it's the best of the 5 shows so far, frankly, even better than Lower Decks because they were doing new and different things, and they were still, like you said, it was furthering the story. It was post-Voyager.
And it was also for an entirely new audience. Prodigy wasn't aimed at all of us 50-year-old white guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was aimed at like 20-year-olds and so on, and
Yeah.
younger.
Right.
And this is the thing, and it goes to my eldest daughter. Had a major procedure at the end of June, and and there's a long recovery, and she was so worried about not being able to see Superman in the theater. She was really, really worried, and she got to go see it. And before she did, she said, "I want to see that, and I want to see Fantastic Four." And I was like, "Cool."
Good kid.
She got to see Superman. She came back and she was like, "Oh my God, I loved it." And like, it speaks to me. She's 25, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she says, and I said, "Well, you're feeling up to it. You want to see FF?" And she said, "No, I can wait." And I said, "Really? Why?" And she said, "Like, I just saw the Superman movie and it gave me hope, and it spoke to me.
Great.
I don't need to see a Fantastic Four movie about two 40-somethings with their unplanned pregnancy who, they're going to love the child when I'm never going to own my own home."
Wow. Heavy.
Right?
Heavy.
But that's not just her.
I'm hip.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know.
You can look at the mediascape and the failure of a lot of movies in the last 6 months as, a direct result of what's happened with the country's embrace of fascism, with our absolute abdication of any leadership on the world stage. And, you can argue issues of American exceptionalism very persuasively, but you're not going to sell a Mission Impossible movie internationally right now. And it doesn't matter how good Final Reckoning is. It's going to bomb overseas.
Right.
Because nobody in the world wants to see the white Americans saving all of us, right?
Yep.
Superman, even as much as Superman is meant to be global, is always going to be an American associated icon.
Sure.
And setting your FF movie in a fictional 60s is, again, exporting in America. The world right now is like, yeah, go fork yourself. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you see it? Did you see it though?
I haven't gotten to see it because I actually had to move and so on. I want to.
Yeah.
But when Evelyn said that to me, I was like, you know what? That's a good point. That is a very fair point. And I have found myself, especially in relation to Trek, thinking about the generational issue and how, like, if I could tell you a Trek story that would make a 23-year-old, pretty funny there. Hey, Linus. Don't say frog.
Yeah, that's why. I explained to him that no F-bombs, kid. All right, but it's cool.
Yeah. Frag? Was it frag or frog? I can't see that. Yeah,
frag. It's an A. It's an A.
Yeah. I look, my eyes are bad. But if I could figure out how to tell a story that got 16 to 25-year-olds into a movie theater to see a Trek movie, then I could get you and me into there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
I do.
we're not the hard sell.
No,
right?
We're not.
The hard sell is the people who are being like, this doesn't mean anything to me.
Yep.
And you see the same problem. It goes down. You like I said, this is an IP problem.
Indeed.
This is the problem with every Marvel movie right now.
Yes.
When did Iron Man come out?
2008.
Okay, so
17 years ago.
17 years ago. So if you saw Iron Man and you were 13, right? You're 30.
Yeah.
Right? And if you were 20, like, these movies have no merit or value to you. You're just like, I have checked out. Never mind that they made them homework. Right? Never mind that to go see this movie, you had to watch these 3 shows and all of this, right? They started with like what the best of comics were, and then they immediately embraced the worst of event comics, where like you have to buy everything in the line to understand it. It was like, no. That's how we lose people, guys.
Also, there was a streak of misfires, though, I think, in TV and film that going to these lower characters, not lesser, but lower characters, it's a bigger ask. And I
Right.
mean, because everyone else was on the ride for those 10 years, Greg, from Iron Man to Endgame. I mean, the box office shows it, but also it is a different world with streaming and COVID and the strikes.
It was a 10-year run, right? It's
Yes.
not a 20-year run. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. Who are you? You know, it's one thing to be like, hey, I'm 15 and I've got the time, me and my friends are going to go. It's another thing to be, I'm 30 and I'm trying to get my toddler to stop running around the house naked because I got to give them a bath before we can go to sleep, you know?
Yeah.
So it is a problem in all of the franchise and all of the IPs. It's the same thing with the Star Wars stuff, right? It's exactly the same thing with the Star Wars stuff. With really the sole exception of Andor, and even Andor is inside baseball to an extent.
I'm hip. I agree.
But it stands well enough on its own. Like, you didn't need Rogue One on either side of Andor to understand Andor.
True.
And having now watched finishing Andor and then going into Rogue One, I'm like, and you still don't need Rogue One. You know what I mean? It's
no, but it helped. I mean, or at least it gave. That's a rare time where a prequel, I think, did a good job.
It fed seamlessly into it. Tonally, it is not the same, and
Agreed.
That's the big issue.
Agreed.
And it is the issue of going, well, you're taking, what is it, 12 hours of television, and then you're going to feed it into a 2-hour movie. And a 2-hour movie requires the wrong word. A 2-hour movie has imposed on it by the studio certain demands. It requires, the studio demands that the movie do certain things. So, for instance, the movie must begin with young Jin watching, daddy get taken away and mommy die. And that's actually kind of pointless. You know what I mean? Like that's another thing I found myself thinking about a lot. And you can see it in season 1 of Andor, right? Season 1 of Andor, it's like, oh, here's young Cass, and he's trying to find his sister. They ran away so quickly from that, it's not funny. You know what I mean? Because that wasn't the story they were that again, Studio Note came in and said, well, we have to know, right? He's got to have a personal story. He's looking for his sister, right? And I think it is so, like, some executive level, there's a course the upper level executives all have to take or something. And whatever the course is, it says they have to, it gives them all the same note.
Interference 101. Yeah.
That's unfair to all executives. There are some great executives out there.
Yes, of course.
But there is, I have met more than a few who are like, well, they think all story is, it's a tab A into slot B.
Yep.
And or they all think it's, well, I read Sid Field, I know what makes a good screenplay. It's like, no, you don't. And you saw the Bezos, right? You saw the Bezos memo a couple weeks ago or a month or two ago.
Talk to me. No.
Oh my goodness, there was this memo that apparently was sent down from Bezos himself of the 10 things that Amazon Television needed to do. And if you read them, right, you're like, these are, one, oddly specific, and two, you have discovered drama, Jeff. You know what I mean? It's like, those of us who have been working in this profession for a while, we figured that stuff out 30 odd years ago. Like almost every writer you're going to meet who has somehow made a career of it already knows these things. But the second you say, here are 10 rules, you are creating an environment that will break it, not foster it, right? Because if you're not doing A or you're not doing B, then you're failing. And it's like, okay, but sometimes B doesn't work, right? Like if I am doing, if I am doing Andor, that is not a show that will take the note, there must be a love triangle. Okay?
Yeah,
That note doesn't work for that show.
sure.
But if the rules, right, are leading it, then you get really bad Andor, because try to picture Andor, right, with a Cassian love triangle with him and Bix and Mon Mothma.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, how does this work? This does not work, right? It's Cassian and Bix and Clea, right? And you're like, and also let's break down what a love triangle means. That would mean, right, that there's a Bix Clea desire working there too, and that's not what they mean when they say love triangle. What they actually mean is love triangulation. So, but
Hilarious.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So, oh, I see a Tog too. Oh, you loved it. Well,
I sent
at least there's
Mark.
somebody there. Yeah,
Mark's comments. Yeah, Mark says,
Yeah.
wife and I just finished watching The Old Guard 2. Loved it. Can't wait for the third. Loved what was kept and changed from the source material in both films. When sequelizing or serializing work, how does your experience in comics and ongoing book series help inform these 2-hour films? Also, on the anniversary of the great Warren Zevon's passed. Yes, any comments on what his work meant to yours? And I'm a big Zevon fan as well.
Well, we'll take the second one first. Like Zevon, they're formative writers for me. He's one of them. I used to write to a lot of Zevon. I wrote a novel last year that I still can't find a publisher for. That unlocked in part because of some of listening to some of Warren and listening to, in particular, the Mountain Goats, listening to Jenny from Thebes, John Darnell, right, of the Mountain Goats.
Okay.
And Jenny from Thebes, that album in particular, I'd been struggling with this. Like, I left novels in 2015. I got really burnt by them. They were painful. They were difficult. And then Bravo came out, and my dad died, and on the same day, and then my publisher, who was in a knife fight with Amazon at the time, and Amazon accounted for somewhat upwards of 60% of your sales.
Sure.
Meant that my novel did not get sold on Amazon. They buried it. So the publisher at the time, Mulholland Books, turned around and they said, well, the book didn't perform. And you didn't go out there. And it's like, yeah, one, I'm an author, not a marketer. That was your job. Two, you guys didn't promote the fucking thing, but forking thing. It was my arguably one of the best things I think I'd written at that point.
Yeah.
So I left novel writing in 2015. It was really, really painful. And last year, starting May last year, I actually started a new one. I did a new Kodiak. There's the eighth Kodiak, the eighth Kodiak novel, or the first Kodiak family novel, depending on how you view it.
Wow.
It should be an entry point if you've never read any of my stuff before. It should hold. But yeah, that book unlocked because of Jenny from Thebes. It unlocked because of that album, and in particular one song on that album. And I was like, oh, I see it. I can see it. So
wow.
that and Zevon, again, because if you write books about assassins, you inevitably are listening to Warren Zevon. So, and then the first question answered second. How does it help? Comics are an efficiency medium, and writing for a screen, large or small, is an efficiency process. That's probably the biggest assistance that I've gotten out of it. Like the demands are very different, and prose is very different from a comic, which is very different from a movie. But the ability to sort of be able to hone in on the moments, that's probably the biggest skill takeaway.
Okay. By the way, Douglas wanted to know, and this is a good memory of a great DC character that Greg created.
Haven't seen it. Have not seen Sasha and Peacemaker.
Well, for the audio audience, yes, people were asking about, and shame on me because I'm caught up, and I missed that Sacha Bordeaux of Greg's detective run is apparently in Peacemaker
and Checkmate, Checkmate.
I totally forgot she was in Checkmate as well. Indeed, shame on me. So,
how are they treating her?
Honestly, again, I guess we'll have to ask Douglas that question. What do you think, Douglas?
Is it a recognizable Sasha? I mean, I expect she hasn't been OMAC, so probably, in so much. I have, she hasn't done much. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. So,
Yeah. Mark says she's good. Yeah. For the show. All right. Cool. In the show. All right. Great. Honestly, and I was saying this last night when I was reviewing the latest episode of Strange New Worlds. We brought up Peacemaker. I'm intrigued by the show, and it's weird because it's got the same tone as The Boys, but it is such an ugly show with a lot of really not positive people, and it really was kind of wearing on me until I realized where I believe the story is going.
Yes,
and I like Cena. I really think Cena, much like The Rock, has impressed me with his acting.
I'll grant you the first. I'm going to argue with you on the second.
Greg, have you seen Snitch? But quite a small tangent. Honestly, I thought the movie Snitch that he made with Barry Pepper and Susan Sarandon is a decent drama that The Rock made.
I have not seen the Snitch, so we will. I am willing to be corrected. I like what Cena's doing, and I like season 1 because I felt season 1 was a very, it was about something, right? It was basically going toxic masculinity is bad, and I think anything that's out there doing that loudly is probably for the best right now. So
sure. That's funny. All right, and let's see here. Okay. King of New York says Dave Bautista is also a great wrestler turned actor. I think decent actor. And I haven't seen him really. I mean, I thought Drax was fun. And I think the other things that I've seen
I've enjoyed Bautista more. Like of everybody, Cena and Bautista, I can see their effort to the craft and their willingness to act. And I look at The Rock like I look at, there's. I have a problem with anybody who's got a reputation for saying I can't lose the fight. You know what I mean? It's like,
I totally respect that. I hear you. Yeah.
Then you're not here for the story. You're here for yourself.
For yourself. Yeah.
You that's not your job, right? Your job is to.
If you're in the collective,
And having come out of TOG 2 with, at least one performer who will not be named, who was far more, and actually now having had enough experience in Hollywood with more than one performer who has been like, I'm not concerned with the thing we're making. I'm concerned with how I'm going to appear in the thing we're making. No, before anybody asks, not Charlize. Charlize is a saint. She is a forking saint.
That's great to hear, man.
Yeah, no, she's what you get on the tin. She is what you get on the tin.
Will there be a third movie?
I have no idea. I don't make that decision.
Okay.
So there are two big factors on that. The first
Old Guard,
is
everybody, to catch everybody
yeah,
up.
Old
Go
Guard
ahead.
2. If there will be an Old Guard 3. If there's going to be an Old Guard 3, it'll be a decision made, number one, by Netflix, and number two, whether or not Charlize wants to do it.
Gotcha.
That will be the thing that tips it. And
Okay.
if she says I want to make it,
Sure.
there's a chance it'll get made. But
Sure.
Right now I have no information. So
Okay, fair enough. By the way, old movie that I was so pleased to find on the Internet Archive, because I couldn't find it on VHS or DVD, from 1970, Colossus: The Forbin Project. Do you know that movie, Greg?
I do not know that movie.
It's
Colossus: The Forbin Project.
The Forbin Project. Eric Braeden of Young and the Restless and Beneath the Planet of the Apes and the Rat Patrol for World War II television fans, is a scientist who develops an artificial intelligence. This is 1970, and it is developed for the Department of Defense. And this is 15 years before Skynet and T2.
Yeah, before Terminator.
And it ultimately takes over the world. And it's
I
great.
guess. Hey Buick, you've seen it, have you?
I have seen it. Oh, yes.
No.
Oh, you're saying, excuse me. Buick.
Yeah.
He's yes. There you go.
There you
Exactly.
go.
I am the voice of world control. Indeed.
Yeah.
Great. And it has that great 70s dystopian, like, don't worry, kids, not a happy ending. We're fine. Pardon me. We're friends.
No, wait. We're forked. Okay, that wasn't me. You did that.
That was me. Yeah.
So this is interestingly enough, I'll
send you the link, Greg.
Yeah, and I'm taking notes. I got out a pen. I got out my fountain pen for it.
Well, and again, like you said, maybe the powers that be wouldn't want a remake. But honestly, I mean, my God, for the last 10 years, I'm like, this movie is so prescient, and it's 55 years old. It's a great movie. It's an excellent. Yeah. Oh, Gore Vidal, ladies and gentlemen.
With recommending watching it, pairing it with Failsafe. So
and absolutely, man. Oh, there you go. And Douglas knows it too. Oh, that's great, guys. I'm glad to see others are aware of it because it's a forgotten sci-fi gem. So
you said you just said something that I think I also want to address. It goes back to the new Trek issue, right? Which is the forking dystopia of it all. And I dropped a new newsletter today, and in the newsletter today, I talked about working on I got hired. That's the wrong way to put it because it makes it seem like somebody just said. I got vetted and then invited to try to adapt Nicole Galland and Neil Stephenson's novel, The Rise and Fall of Dodo, for television as a television series, which would have been an awesome series. And anybody who knows the novel, like you can see the potential. And I had a wonderful time working on it. I really am proud of the pilot I wrote, despite the notes that we ultimately got. It never sold. It never sold because I don't think the people who tried to sell it did it very well. I think they kind of sent it out and were like, well, let's see if anything had. They didn't try to sell it. But I got to work with a woman named Karen Lohr, who, along with Nicole and Neil, were sort of like this Dodo collective. All incredibly smart, incredibly talented people. And I had a conversation at one point, and it was, and Neil and I ended up talking about the fact that we have, as creatives, as writers, as storytellers, we have we have committed a grave error, and the turn to dystopian fiction is actually arguably an unethical and maybe even an immoral one. That the preponderance, and if you look back to like starting in the 90s, it's almost all dystopian fiction. Like all speculative fiction is pretty much dystopian. We stopped envisioning the positive utopian future. We stopped envisioning a Roddenberry future.
Yep.
And And I say this as the guy who's writing Lazarus, right?
Yeah.
But I also say this as a guy who is long past the point of going, I see, people, everybody who thinks there's going to be an election in, 26 and so on, and that there's going to be a presidential election in 28, and who is not paying attention if they think that. We don't, we're past that. It's over. It's done. The thing we have to do is figure out not how we go back, because you can't go back.
Correct.
The thing now is, what are we going to make next? What will the next thing be?
Yes.
And if that is where we are, and I believe that is where we are, then it is incumbent on those of us who are writing science fiction, writing futuristic fiction, writing fiction about where we are going, to write stories that envision a way forward that does not result in everybody on Earth dying because the AI machines, not because they killed us, but because they drink up all our water and they polluted all of our air, and we all burnt to death in the greenhouse that we made, right?
Yeah.
We have to write
The way out.
Or I don't know if we can. I mean, I don't know if we can. I certainly am not smart enough to write the way out. but because, man, if I could, then I would be implementing it, right? But what I can maybe do is I can posit some ideas about how we get there in Lazarus, which is, if you're listening carefully, a hint at where we're going, or what we want to be when we get there, like what that world has to be. And I well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Linus.
Yes.
Linus was hoping I'd come up with a whole detailed system of government. Unlikely.
Constitution Part 2.
Yeah. How many copies of that do you think we'd sell? Yeah, an appendix. It would be a support document. But I do think, and even if it isn't as much as saying we need to do these things, we need to envision a future that says we need to envision the future that that gives us a Zephram Cochrane who goes, oh wow, look at that, and can shake hands with the Vulcans, and because, and this is the thing, right? And it goes all the way back. This goes back to people don't like Superman because he's so perfect, and nobody who's that strong would be that good, and so on. One of the smartest things Gunn does in the movie, spoiler, is that the very first thing you see in the movie, is Superman defeated, broken, bloody, and wounded. The first thing you see is Superman with blood coming out of his mouth, immediately humanizes him, immediately makes him empathizable, and immediately dispels the idea that he can't be hurt, that he is this perfect thing.
Totally agree.
Right?
Yes.
And
great scene.
Just such a chef's kiss decision. Right? And then, and then the bad dog of it all. It's like
Crypto.
Crypto who steals the movie. Yes. But
100%. Ryan North and Norton are doing a crypto comic miniseries, and it's great.
Do. And I'm sure it's selling much, much better than Cheetah and Cheshire robbed the Justice League is.
No, and we'll get to Chi. Absolutely, we can get to that. No, Greg, as always, I appreciate the tangents, and I know that the audience does as well. So,
I mean, I don't know. Can you tell how many people have already been like, "Oh, he's talking politics, I'm out"?
No. No. We're fine, and we're also live on both Facebook and YouTube, and
I
we're getting
did
comments
notice.
from both areas.
I did notice the hated meta F appear. So
Yes, and here I was trying to find Warren. Warren, I guess Warren Drummond. Here we go.
There you go. Scroll
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, here it is. Greg is one of my favorite writers, period. I
Oh,
storyboarded on
thank you.
Brubaker's Criminal.
Oh, awesome.
And I need to work on any Rucka adaptation. I told Greg at San Diego years ago how his work needed to be adapted. I've told many directors about him, and I'm in LA and have to I have to, I guess, meet Greg again. I'm assuming is what he's saying.
That would be great.
Lazarus Warren's a great guy, man. He's a big storyboard guy. Storyboard guy.
Love it. I'm down here through January. Looks like the end of January.
Okay.
Depending on how the mystery room goes. We'll know more in the next couple of weeks. So
excellent. No, I'm excited. Well,
yeah.
again, I mean, Greg, I'm happy to go 2 hours if you can, but it's up to you.
I'm good.
Okay, good.
I may say, everybody wait. I'm gonna go get myself something else to drink, but
that's fine too.
Going for a while.
Well, again,
do you want to hit a couple questions before we jump
sure,
over?
If you want, of course. Yeah, man.
I'm here, John. We haven't done this in forever. It's supposed to be a debrief. That means you got to question me.
Absolutely, man.
You got to question me, and you got to question me sort of hard because I may be holding back, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, Nicola is working with Greg on Justice League, on Cheetah and Cheshire. Rob the Justice League, but also says since Zach says since someone else mentioned it, wondering if you and Nicola have intentions on returning to Black Magic.
Absolutely, and in point of fact, Zach, Nicola was drawing Black Magic 17, which was meant to be our return issue, when she basically called me and said, I'm going to have to step away because I need to get a gig that will actually pay me money. Absurd, but fine. And that was when I said, well, funnily enough, I've been talking to Rob Levin at DC, and I've got an idea for this Heist book, and it'll be Cheetah in the lead, and I'm thinking Cheshire. And she was like, I could draw that. I love drawing Cheetah. I could draw that. So the plan, tentatively, because Nick and I haven't actually locked this down, is that when she finishes the mini, she will jump back into Black Magic. And then ideally, the goal is to finish the run. We've got another 16 issues or so to go.
Wow.
And we've always known, the beginning and the middle and the end. Right now, oddly enough, there's a TV show in development. God knows if it'll happen. That A24 is developing.
Wonderful.
But it's going to be a different animal. Obviously, it's going to be a different animal. So
yeah.
Well, and Nick and I have felt this. Black Magic's been optioned at this point 3 separate times. And each time Nick and I have the same conversation, which is they don't know what we're doing and they don't know where we're going. And they can there are 2 ways you can do a Black Magic show at this point. You can do Witch Cop, the cop with witch powers, or you can do Cop Witch, right? So, and neither of those are actually what we are telling. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Tell Nick I got to bug Nick. It's been forever since I talked to her. Last time I talked to her, she was working on Kelly Sue's her story.
Oh yeah.
The Wonder Woman thing. Yeah, man. James wants to know what are some books from around your Checkmate era that you think more people should read?
Mine or somebody else's, James?
I'm assuming yours, right? Lost books. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's Ra's al Ghul with
Death and the Maidens.
Death and the Maidens.
Death and the Maidens is actually. I always looked at Death and the Maidens as something that had sort of as a distinguished failure. But the further I get from it, the more I go, no, it actually kind of works. And there's connective tissue. If you are reading Cheetah and Cheshire, the character who was introduced at the end of issue 2, who was on the phone going, "Mom, Mom, Mom," that's Nissa's adopted daughter.
Okay, the kid who's wearing like the pink pullover and everything.
Yeah,
I was going to ask Greg. Okay, because everybody in issue 2, Cheetah and Cheshire are assembling their crew.
Yeah, it's the traditional now we need a crew issue. So it's them getting together everybody they're going to need to pull off the most absurd heist in the history of the DCU. And yes, the character who will be revealed as Featherweight is their code name, is Nissa's adopted daughter. And if you know that and you reread her side of the phone call, it gets even funnier. Because she's like, yes, they are jackbooted Nazi thugs. Yes, I mean, it's like, so
that's great. I didn't realize it was Nissa's daughter. That's fantastic, man.
Well, significantly, Nissa's adopted daughter, because the instigating event of Death and the Maidens is that Nissa's last living child has died. She because the Nazis sterilized her. She cannot have any more biological children.
Gotcha.
So one of the things that this says to me about Nyssa following Death and the Maidens is that she somehow is able to find enough rejection of the apathy and coldness of the world to actually adopt this person and say, you are my daughter. I will raise you. I will love you. I will care for you. And it's very clear from the phone call. Like, if you just read that scene, it is very clear from that phone call. That's a mom going, did you have enough to eat? Are you sure you're getting enough water? I worry about you. That is Nyssa, forgive me, being an absolute Jewish mom. So yeah.
And Clarion, the witch boy, part of the crew now?
Yes. Clarion and Teakle. You don't get Clarion without Teakle.
Yes,
you've got to have the familiar.
Absolutely.
And Hazard. Poor Hazard. Who's like, who we meet in a really dumpy casino, helping her grandfather rook people.
The gambler. Yeah, Hazard is the gambler's granddaughter.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And I love that. There's a panel that Nick draws of her just, at a slot machine. Then she's clearly rigging the slots, right? Like, she's
fantastic
just
scene.
Jackpots over and over again, like smoking and bored out of her mind when Cheshire finds her. So it is, the whole newsletter that came out today was about the tropes here, about the fun of the recruitment phase and of assembling the team, and why it's always like, it's our favorite bits in all of the Ocean's movies. It's our favorite. It's one of the best bits in The Sting, right? When you watch Harold Gould doing the interviews.
Yes.
And it is, it's just a delight. It's always so much fun. And one of the things about Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League is it is supposed to be as fun as an Ocean's movie. And that's the goal. There should be some moments where you laugh. There should be some moments where you go, uh-oh, you should be digging it. So
remind people, because it's only 2 issues in.
Yeah.
What is the thing that the MacGuffin that they're going after to rob the Justice League of?
Right. So the setup for the series is that Cheetah, for reasons of her own, discovers that the Justice League has created a device called the Power Bank. I didn't make this up. This was handed to me. And it is a problematic invention at the least, because it is a device that is it's supposed to allow the heroes to back up their powers, like to a Dropbox, so they can access the backup should Amanda Waller ever pull what she did.
Yeah, 2 events ago. Yeah, Wade story, Mark Wade story, everybody. Yeah.
Right. Which, this is not me throwing shade on Mark's story. This is me throwing shade on the idea that there is a device in the DC universe where Superman can deposit his powers, and in some way, therefore, Nightwing can withdraw them and be Superman for a night. And the second you do that, you have broken the DC universe.
Hilarious.
Right? The second you do that, you have broken the DC universe. Because the second you do that, every editor at DC gets 8 pitches about how Green Arrow and they're all
that's a miniseries. Sure.
You've taken out. You've created a device that says, the things that make them unique, not so much anymore. So.
Yeah, I agree with Comics Aficionado. Very Silver Age. Indeed,
it is very Silver Age.
The composite Superman Batman.
It is very goofy.
So sure.
And delightfully goofy in that sense.
Yeah.
But Cheetah, being nobody's fool, and one of the reasons I wanted her to lead this is that Cheetah is one of those characters that it took me a while to get a handle on. The first Wonder Woman run back in the aughts, I stayed away from her because I really didn't have a grip on her. I really felt I had figured her out when we did the Rebirth stuff in 2016. And I kind of really fell in love with the character as this, and she doesn't get proper play. She doesn't get treated with respect. She's not smart enough, right? She's very smart. And like all good villains, she's undone by envy, right? Like she has a fatal flaw. And her fatal flaw is she is unconsciously jealous of Diana. And it's not that she begrudges what Diana has. She wants that for herself. This is how you get into a really bad marriage with an abusive, misogynistic God who makes you eat human flesh and satisfy his sexual cravings. Which is a part we don't talk about, right?
You do, but most people don't. And I love seeing that personal struggle within her in the book.
Yeah, people gloss over the fact that human flesh, and literally he makes her perform sexually for him.
Yeah.
So Cheetah gets the bright idea that, hey, there's this thing that's called the power bank. And if I know about it, every other villain in the DC universe knows or will very soon. And if we get a hold of this thing, that is the biggest payday ever, right? Like, we've got access to the powers. We can rent powers. We can do whatever we want with these. And maybe I've got a personal agenda too. So she goes to her BFF in crime, Cheshire. And she says, I've got a plan. And Cheshire says, you are crazy. And Cheetah says, no, I am not. One of my favorite lines in the first issue is when Jade is walking away from Barbara Ann after she's made the pitch. She says, I'm not listening to you. I don't listen to crazy people. And you, my friend, are a crazy people. And Barbara Ann's response is, all right, 1, that's demonstrably not true. You have in the past. And 2, no, I'm not. Right? But, which I felt was a fair thing to say to Cheshire. So they're gonna steal the power bank. But the problem is that the power bank is held on the Justice League Watchtower in a secure lab, which requires robbing the Justice League clubhouse, which on average has at least 20 members of the Justice League wandering around at any time.
Yep.
And the rest of them can get there nearly instantaneously by teleporting.
Absolutely.
And also, which can only be accessed in 2 ways. There are only 2 ways onto that station. So yeah, I set myself a Wraith 14 asks, and who guards the Watchtower? I get that. That was funny. Nicely done. Yes, though who watches the Watchtower might have worked better. Yes, the question is up there on security, so that's just bonus for me. I get to do some Renee stuff. So
well, there you go. Well, that's a very good point indeed. But I would have go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, I was going to say, so that's the long explanation. The quick pitch is this: Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League is Greg doing Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 8 in the DC universe.
Yeah.
In this case, it's Cheetah's 7 is what it is. So.
No, I love it. I love it. Now, also, again, good opportunity for Renee to, obviously be involved. But also, would imagine maybe Roy Harper might eventually, given that,
no spoilers there. There is a mention at the top of issue 2, right, where Leanne
Yes.
comes in.
Yeah, which I loved. Great to see Leanne getting older.
Right.
And yeah, that's a great scene. Absolutely.
Barbara
Good mom
Ann,
scene.
Nick and I, and that's very much Nick. Nick decided that, Cheetah's Leanne's cool aunt. She's the cool aunt.
Who calls her Slick?
So calls her Slick. Calls her Slick. Which is a runner that I don't actually think we ever explain in the series. I may have to go back and try to do it.
Okay.
There's actually a Barbara Ann Leanne story going on in it. There's a lot of there's more going on than just the heist.
Wonderful.
Right?
Yeah, that's great.
And if you look at the structure of these heist films, there always is more than just the heist.
The heist itself, yeah.
But yeah, so it's me doing an Ocean's movie in the DC universe, which requires you to be rooting for my bad guys. So root for my bad guys, damn it.
No problem with that. Was it you or Jen, your lovely wife, that did the Injustice Gang heist back in JSA Classified back?
Oh my God, no, that would have been her. Yeah,
it was Jen. Okay,
back in the day. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Chem Dog. Ow.
Yeah. Chem Dog is the Rodney Dangerfield of the world.
Hey, ow. That was ow.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I tell you, that's my Bob O. But anyway, I got to tell you,
Comics Aficionado knows what they're talking about. Comics Aficionado had a question that we blew past.
We did, and forgive me, I will scroll back.
I'm bringing it up.
I'm glad you did. Here we go.
No.
All right, hold on. Let me for the audio
you
audience.
Read it out loud. Okay.
Yeah, got a few questions for you, Greg. Number one, I think I read somewhere where you've written a Superman film script. Number two, where'd you come up with the great idea to make Mxyzptlk a guide of sorts to Supes in your Adventures of Superman run? A great run, by the way.
Thank you.
One of my favorites. McGurk.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
McGurk!
I love when Mixie calls him McGurk. I love that. That's classic, man.
It is, man. It's fun. I have not written a Superman film script. I do not know where you would have heard that. I have not even tried. I am somewhat in awe of the Gunn Superman movie, because doing good Superman is very, very hard, and I have Mark Waid can sit there and watch the movie and be like, right? Because
I haven't talked to him yet. I gotta. Yeah, I get it.
No. But Mark also stands at a height where he can do that.
100%, man.
I came out of that movie with very, very little to quibble about. My biggest ask is always going to be, are you going to give me a Lois Lane? And oh boy, did they give me a Lois Lane.
Yeah, she was great. Rachel did great.
She was Lois. That was Lois.
Yeah.
They gave me Lois and they gave me Superman, and I loved it. For two about Mixie in the Superman run, it was a thought process. It was, I'd always found Mixie, but I just didn't understand the motivation, right? And that may be a failing on my part, certainly in the world we're living in, where that kind of petulant, like the mean Mixie never made sense to me. It was like, so you're just a jerk because you're a jerk, right? And I was like, where's that coming from? I don't find that interesting. I like my villains to have pathos, and I like a difference between a villain and an antagonist. So for instance, when I was writing Wonder Woman, in the Rebirth run, the second timeline, in particular the stuff that Bilquist was drawing, that was supposed to be
Contemporary.
no, it was supposed.
Oh, I beg your
Which
pardon.
was it? It was supposed to be the past. It was
Excuse me.
it
Absolutely.
was Liam who was handling
Sharp.
the contemporary. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I like Circe as an antagonist, right? Not as a villain.
I get it.
Circe's motivation should be very much, I'm in this for me. And sometimes me is going to help you. And sometimes me is going to totally screw you over. But it's about me. I'm Circe, right? And Mixie, I looked at it and I was like, so you're this fifth dimensional imp who can do anything, create anything. Very influenced by the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini animateds. And I kind of was like, well, okay, if you can do anything, what is your fascination with Superman, who apparently can do anything or almost anything and is just being good? Like, he's just good. And I found that a very fascinating take, I guess. I was like, okay, that's my way in. And that's how I got there. That was how I got there. And then, of course, I had, Matthew Clark is one of my dear friends. We live in Portland. We were working on it together. So I would be able to go and sit with him and literally be like, so you want to do a Calvin and Hobbes thing? And he'd be like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, fun stuff.
That's great. Sterling Gates, who, by the way,
Sterling!
everybody,
filmmaker Sterling Gates.
Indeed. We'll be talking about Sterling's film and his wonderful Supergirl run
Yes.
coming up on Wednesday on Word Balloon. He's like, I'm with Greg. I love Gunn's Lois, one of the best live action interpretations of the character. Yeah, when they go through the mock interview.
Oh, the interview's great.
That's a wonderful scene. That's a Lois scene.
But both scenes, right? Both scenes. Because those two scenes are each necessary, right? The interview scene, which is her being a great reporter, and then the hot cocoa scene, right? The way those scenes speak to each other, and other things that are going on, in particular in the hot cocoa scene, right? Like where he's sitting there and he's drinking the cocoa, and you're looking outside at this battle going on.
I wanted to bring that up. Go on. Yep.
And the genius of saying, oh, no, they've got that, right?
Right.
Like, literally, he is not worried about that.
Right.
The world is big enough that he doesn't have to Band-Aid everything.
Sure.
Really good storytelling. Just really, really, really smart decision-making throughout that movie.
Do you know the French comedian filmmaker Jacques Tati?
Yeah.
That scene reminded me of a 50s Tati movie.
Yeah.
Where something's happening in the forefront, but really it's in the back that we're laughing
what's going
at.
on in the background. That's
exactly and it was so great. And I haven't heard Gunn reference that, but Lower Decks did it actually.
Yeah.
The same thing where a conversation was happening in the forefront and Mariner's getting the crap kicked out of her.
Yeah, this is the important stuff in the background. It's a great dramatic tool. Yeah. No, and I mean, and then that scene ends with Clark leaving and being like, yeah, he's not even a very good dog. But he's alone. Yeah, he's alone and he's probably scared. I mean, it's just like, oh, yes.
Are you
Hi,
watching
Superman? Hi, Superman.
Are you watching South Park?
I am not watching South Park.
There's a great crypto joke with Christy Nome.
Oh,
and
God.
it's all it goes where you think it's gonna go. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey, crypto's in South Park. Not for long. Christy Nome's on the scene.
Yeah.
Very funny.
That makes sense.
Very sad, very funny.
Sense.
So that's nice. Comics Aficionado says thanks for the answer. And he thinks maybe he got that from the Superman homepage, but he also a little shout out to Sterling for War of the Superman. Yes, indeed, because they are republishing and putting out, I guess, with the anticipation of the Supergirl movie, they're re-putting that out. And you were involved with that. That wasn't it you, James, and Sterling doing the new Krypton?
Yeah,
War of the Superman stuff. James Robinson.
Yeah, that was me, and I'll admit this right now, and poor Sterling will have to hear me say it. That was me at my absolute lowest at DC. That was deep in the end when everybody was lying to me,
Yeah.
using me, betraying me, abusing me. My relationship with James was a bad one. He was writing whatever he wanted. We were not collaborating well. Collaborating with Sterling was great. Literally was the best thing about that period. But it was just, yeah, it was just a repeated kick between the legs. So.
Well, so I don't see it in the chat anymore, unfortunately. But someone had asked earlier, what brings you back to DC after those previous times? Unfortunately, that things have ended badly.
I'm going to be perfectly honest because I have decided I am. Hey, Matthew! Woo!
Yay, Matthew! Another great Star Trek fan.
You got to read that one up. Yeah, the Star Trek. No, I don't know who Gerg is.
Hold on. Yeah, imagining sitting across the table with both Greg and I during dueling Mixie impressions, comedy gold, and one of the best times ever in my career.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. It was. I would sit there and be typing. I would literally script as Matthew would be like, "Oh, well, we could do this," and I would say, "What about this?" And he'd be, "Oh, yeah," and then he would be sketching, and it was a precious and rare privilege. It was a really rare moment in my career. What brings me back to DC?
Yes.
It's a different company right now.
Sure.
The people there, so it's healthy. It was toxic when I was there, and it remained toxic until Dan DiDio left. It was an abusive, manipulative environment. Jeff Johns was an incredibly manipulative person to me.
Wow.
Used me, lied to me, played me off against people. DiDio did the same thing. I was made promises repeatedly. They were always broken. When I left in 2009, I was mentally ill. Yes, Marie is killing it as editor-in-chief.
Ken Kramer did.
I was severely depressed. I was suicidal. And I'm not joking. I nearly took my life.
I feel horrible, man.
I nearly took my life.
Wow.
And that's all the direct result of the way I was treated from, in particular, 2006 through 2009.
Jesus.
I was, and it was done with malice. This isn't accidental. The people I am speaking about are bad actors. They are bad actors. I'm not in a place where I will ever defend them again. They did what they did with malice aforethought. When they came to me in 2016, they came to me on their knees, saying we have a Wonder Woman coming out, and we have forked her into a cocked hat. And
say that again, Greg. I didn't understand you. Please say that again.
We have a Wonder Woman movie coming out, and we have forked the character into a cocked hat.
I don't know what that means. Help me.
Well, I'm using forked.
Oh, I see. But a cocked hat?
Yeah. Let's just say another phrase might be screwed the pooch.
Oh, okay. God bless you. All right, thank you.
We need to get it fixed.
Sorry. Okay, yes, I see now. Now I'm with you. All right.
And we want you to do it. And what will it take? And I gave them a list of demands. And then I made them put them in writing, which is how you got me back in 2016. And then at the end of that first year, they said, well, we're going to do it again. We want you to keep going. And I said, this isn't sustainable. And I told you I could only do it for a year. So that's when I walked away. I came back in 2019 specifically because Brian Bendis and Matt Fraction were coming in.
Yes.
And there was an intention that we would work together. And when I came in at that point, I was told, well, we don't need to make any guarantees to you because we've proven we'll do what we said. And like an idiot, I said, okay. And they proceeded to fork me.
Fork you again.
And so when that ended, I walked away, and they came back a couple times, and so on. So I stayed away, and about June of last year, I was at Heroes Con, and an editor whose name escapes me at DC came by and said, Cully said I should come by and talk to you. Are you willing to talk to us? I said, I'm always willing to talk. I'm always willing to talk. And word got back that the door was open. So Rob Levin called me, and Rob said, here's the thing we're doing. And I said, basically, he poured enough of the poison in my ear about the Cheetah and Cheshire thing to make me go, ooh, now I'm intrigued. And he and I had a serious conversation. I said, I have had bad experiences. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to go back there. And he said, I know what you're talking about, and I know what you are describing, and that is not us now. When I was there, literally editorial groups were at war with each other.
Yes, sir. I've heard
like
that as
well. They would not talk to each other, and that was fomented. That was fomented. That was done with deliberation.
Yes,
right?
Sadly, I've heard all of that. Yeah.
That's not on the editors. That's from the top down. That's from the COO, and that's from Dan.
To allow it to happen, sure.
So they didn't allow it to happen. They made it happen.
Wow.
There's a big difference.
Wow.
There, John.
All right.
There's a huge difference there.
Greg, you were in the room. I was not. So please.
So I'm not, like I said, I'm long past covering for people's bad behavior. I don't care anymore.
No, I understand.
Rob made it clear to me. He said it's very different now. And editorial gets along, and we communicate and so on. I said, all right, well, I'll believe that when I see that, but I'm happy to talk. And then I got to see it, and Rob is absolutely correct. There are 3 different quote group editors that I am in communication with at this point, and they all talk to each other so much it's almost a problem, right? But I'd much rather they all get along, because it creates an environment where everybody is able to. That's how you're getting the environment that's putting out what I think is some of the best stuff DC's done, certainly in the last 10, 15 years.
I do agree with that. Absolutely.
Right?
That's why I've been having so many DC interviews lately. Yeah.
It is a very, very positive environment. People are working together, and they're not working in fear, and they are collaborating. And because the editors are collaborating, that means creators can collaborate. It means communication's open. I love a good editorial relationship. I have never written anything that couldn't benefit from another set of eyes. I want to be able to talk to an editor and be able to say, this is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure if this works, and have them say, okay, I don't think it does work, but have you thought about this, right? I have worked now with 3 separate editors at DC. All of them have been terrific. And, the last time I was able to work with editors who were that good was in 2016, when I was able to pick the editors I was working with. And before that, I got to go back, frankly, to Denny and Denny's back group. And that's not to say the editors that I worked with, for instance, on Gotham Central, Matt Idelson, Nacho Castro, were bad people or bad editors. They were great at their jobs. But the environment was growing more and more toxic.
Crazy.
And it is, things move in cycles. But I have come to a place now, and I've really only come to it recently, and I'm sure this interview is now going to get me into a whole world of trouble for saying what I have said. But I've really come to a place where I'm like, oh no, I can see what was done, and I can see now the truth of it. And I can see also some common denominators of things. There are certain things that I have realized about people who I was working for and working with, who were very careful about hiding it about themselves. One of the things I've been saying a lot to people, and I will say it again here, be very careful of the public face. And in particular, be careful of the public-facing comics. Very few people are actually who they appear to be. Like John and I have been talking now for the better part of 30 years.
20,
right?
but yeah.
No, I mean, I've been in the industry since 98.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
99.
I thought you said you and I.
Yeah, and so you and I have been talking for at least 20.
20 years, sir.
At
Absolutely.
least 20.
Yes.
Right? So like
Yes.
you and I, you know, you took my youngest daughter to the museum. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I do not guard myself when I talk with you, to my peril, I admit. But yeah, I have beware of the face people are showing.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do, because it's real easy for people to go on Twitter or Blue Sky or Instagram and tell you what they stand for and tell you what they're doing. It's real easy to talk it. It's a lot harder to walk it. And like I said, my realization, I've had a lot of realizations in the last year, and some of them have been like, oh, this person was an anti-Semite from the start. This person didn't like me because I was a Jew.
Damn.
You know?
Damn.
And things like that. So
Holy cow.
I have come to certain conclusions.
Wow.
And I think of it as at 55, I am now healing myself. And here's the thing. I can say these things in large part because I don't care anymore. If, for instance, I never work again for DC, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I will be perfectly happy to go off to my little corner and write another novel. I can't guarantee I'll ever sell it, but I'll be happy to write it. So
okay, well, real quick, because someone did wonder if you.
Oh yeah,
so
I'm
there
sure,
are no future.
I'm sure there are a lot of people going like this.
Yeah,
So.
well, yeah, I would think so. You know, yeah, I would imagine if Rich Johnson is watching, there might be some ripples in the pond. But no, someone had asked.
I'm not interested in protecting anybody's legacy anymore. I'm just not. I'm not.
Well, and Greg, honestly, man, and because you and I are friends, I didn't realize to what extent that period that you were going through, and I feel bad that I didn't know.
Well, I wasn't really telling people about it. I was in the hole. But literally December 2012, I had to call a friend to say, I need you to come here and take this firearm out of my home.
Wow.
Because I am afraid of what I will do with it if I am left alone.
Man.
So
well, I'm glad you have healed and or healing. And but so to obviously, but again, you've said it's a different status quo now. It is a different.
It is absolutely, yeah.
And so is the door open for perhaps more DC if something intrigues you?
Absolutely.
Good. How about Marvel? How about Marvel?
Marvel has never ever liked me. Every time I go over to Marvel, it ends badly. Every time I go over to Marvel, they say, "Come here, please, please, please." And then inevitably I get fired or lied to or whatnot. Right. So Marvel is never going to call me and say, please come and play in our yard. And that's fine. Marvel's yard only has a few characters I'm actually interested in. DC's yard is where my heart is.
Sure.
And always will be. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying Marvel I have never been the flavor of the month at Marvel.
Well, again, I know that you're, in particular, and you and I have talked about it in the past. I really enjoyed your Wolverine, and it was a different vibe.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed your Wolverine.
But as I am fond of telling people, I am the only guy to take Wolverine out of the top 10. So he was selling great until Derek and I took over.
Derek Robertson,
yeah. And then they were like, why is he not wearing a costume and stabbing people all the time? And I was like, because that's not the story we're telling. And Marvel was like, oh, what have we done? When is he leaving the book? So
Cole says, hope you're doing well and better.
I am.
I've always loved your work and enjoying the new stuff, both at Image and at DC. So that's cool to see. Yeah, Greg even he said Joseph says you filled in on some Daredevil issues. No, I don't know about most.
Well, that's the last thing I think I did at Marvel, and I did that with Ed, which gives you an idea of how long ago that was.
Yeah, no kidding. Exactly. Wow, that's a good point, man. Would there ever be more Gotham Central from you, or would you not do it without Ed?
No, I mean, I did it without Ed for 15, 20 issues. So
Of course,
I don't,
yes, shame on me. Yes, indeed.
I'm not precious about it, and it has actually been mentioned to me. Somebody, an editor said, it'd be really cool to do like a Gotham Central Black Label thing, and I could see doing it if like I had an idea in the era. I honestly think if I was going to do something along those lines, I got invited to do a story for the Detective 1100 anniversary.
Yeah.
And I was invited specifically Ben, when he invited me, I was like, we were thinking sort of something Gotham Centrally. And I was like, oh, so, I started thinking, okay, what can and I got back and I was like, look, guys, I don't know. I don't have an idea. And Jessica Bearby, who is the associate editor on both that and on Cheetah and Cheshire, sent an email saying, I was just wondering like if there was a story about like being the coroner or something, the medical examiner.
Sure.
And I was like, oh,
great.
That's a great idea.
Great idea.
and this is an example of, you steal with both hands from what's around you. I had been watching The Pit. And I was like, oh, that's a story to tell.
That's great.
And there was this wonderful book done in like the late 90s, early 90s, called The Knife and Gun Club. That's a series of photographs, black and white photographs done by a journalist covering Denver's trauma center. And then there are interviews, but they called it the Knife and Gun Club, right?
Wow.
Because it was trauma between like 11 at night and 4 in the morning was when they would start getting all of the gunshots and all of the stabbings and so on.
Sure.
And I always thought, well, one, that's a brilliant title. And two, what was Gotham? I mean, immediately it suggests itself. What does Gotham look like before Batman and after Batman if you are the attending in the trauma center? And so that's a long way around of going, so now I kind of want to do a medical drama set in Gotham. Like, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, see, Buick just got there. But I kind of want to do like, and this is the problem, right? When we proposed Gotham Central, we were told you have to call it Batman Gotham Central. And we're like, well, if we call it Batman Gotham Central, then Batman's got to be in it.
That's the expectation, certainly.
And it's not about Batman being in it. It's about the effect of Batman. And I don't want to do like Batman Gotham General, right? But I'm not sure. I mean, like, no, this is the thing. People love Gotham Central. Gotham Central never sold well, guys. Like, I'm glad you all liked it, but nobody was buying enough of it. You know what I mean? It scraped along, barely surviving. And so you can imagine, like right now, we're barely moving copies of Cheetah and Cheshire. I don't really see DC being like, yes, we will approve your 6-issue Vanity working in Gotham General. I somehow don't see it. But
go on.
It's just like, oh my gosh, what a great idea, right? Like, you could have so much fun with what is it like to be in the trauma center the night the Scarecrow goes, I am dropping fear gas in Times Square, right? That is a great story.
Yeah.
That is a great drama.
Well, and it feels like Gun DCU, that kind of thing, because it really is about the layers beyond the obvious. And that's why I am enjoying Peacemaker with my problems with it and everything. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's a bigger universe than just the Justice League and Superman and Batman and the like. Well, and that's why it would seem to me that it would be, something that they would want to explore. But again, maybe not as a comic, but maybe as a TV thing, you know.
I mean, I don't see that pitch landing well, John. But
I respect that. That's why I'm not a TV executive.
yeah,
Absolutely.
well, I mean, executives are a cowardly and superstitious lot. I saw a question that just scrolled past. It was JD asked about.
Yes, and I did want to get back to that because
Yeah.
Greg acknowledged it, and I'll expand on what you're saying, Greg. Go ahead.
Yes. So the question is, any future prose novels? I have written a new Kodiak novel. It's called Whisper, which, if you know the Kodiak series, is a throwback title because the first three were Keeper, Finder, and Smoker. It is a standalone. It is set 12 years after the last novel. So it's basically, I have two ways of describing it. The first way is to say it's This Is Us, but with assassins. And the second is, so imagine John Wick married a woman more dangerous than him, and they raised two girls. And that's what Whisper is. It has been out to publishers since February. We have gotten 3 passes and 4 dial tones. Nobody's gotten back because one of the results of where we are in the industry and the world right now is everybody's paralyzed. Nobody's willing to buy. And the 3 passes were all 3 editors who read it as a sequel to the last Kodiak novel, Walking Dead, which came out in 2010.
Damn.
This is not a sequel.
Yeah.
This is absolutely meant to be read. If you know the other novels, great. You should be able to pick this up and read it without having read any of the others. Like, if you can't do that, I have failed as a novelist. So we'll see. Next year is the 30th anniversary of the novel Keeper, of my first novel being published. And the wonderful writer I know, Mike Shackle, who's a great writer. And I had a conversation because he does a lot of stuff in digital. And he was like, well, you should consider digital. You should consider maybe doing a 30th anniversary edition of Keeper. Like, do a Kickstarter, to which I was like, all right, well, the first word there, that made me cringe was Kickstarter. I've been there and it burnt a lot. But it was also different then. So
what was your Kickstarter campaign? Because
Lady Saber way back in the day.
Totally forgot.
But it destroyed us. I mean, it literally destroyed us. It took forever to fulfill. We made no profit. It was a nightmare. It was so, like, the mere thought of going do a Kickstarter.
Totally forgot about that, Greg. Yeah.
But that landscape is awesome.
That was your steampunk stuff.
That
right?
was the webcomic that Rick Burchett and I did.
Yeah, Rick Burchett. Yeah. Wow.
So
absolutely, man.
It's very different now, and it is arguably much easier to do. So maybe we'll entertain that, and if that happens, then that might be sort of a way into going, okay, well, here'll be it gives me a metric of people who are interested. And then, if it's like, okay, well, then we're going to release the book digitally. Maybe I'll pay to get it. I need some proper copy editing. I would need to get it. I'd need to do an audio version. And that would require it would require both money and somebody to read it, or money and time if I was to read it. I really need to do audio versions of the first 4 novels that we've re-released as ebooks, because in the time, I started publishing in 96. In 96, audiobooks weren't a thing.
No, different world.
Now audiobooks are 60% of the market.
I'm hip.
So if there isn't an audio version, right, then I'm literally cutting my throat.
Right.
So,
well, you're cutting off a revenue stream. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, someone brought up the No Man's Land graphic audio adaptation of your novelization. And in fact, I have to tell you, I turned Kyle Higgins onto that because he's such a fan of your novelization of it. And as you know, that was my introduction to you.
Yeah.
I was going, as I love to tell the story, everybody. I was going to cover a boxing match in New York, and I'm in O'Hare Airport, and I see a novel, Batman No Man's Land, and I'm like, and I read the back cover, and I'm like, okay, this sounds intriguing, and it made me a Greg Rucka fan. Absolutely, man. And I know you were obviously writing the comics as well, but
but I've been talking to DC about that too, about trying to get that book back in print. That's a book that's now 24 years, 25 years old this year.
Yeah, it was like 99.
It was 2000. Yeah, it was
2000. Okay. Yeah.
So I'd love to get that out again,
Yeah.
So
no,
just
I hear
because
you,
I'm proud of that novel. I'm still very proud of that novel. So
many are asking about Ruby Actual. Is that your Cully project?
That is my Cully project. Cully is on issue 3.
Okay.
There are going to be 5. He has a script for issue 4. Cully is working very slowly. Cully is slow. That is the sad truth about Cully.
Yeah.
Cully is also dealing with the world and a lot of other things in his life. So, the plan is the process on it is so slow that until we have all 5 done, we're not going to be able to release it. I want to release it. It is the best art I've ever seen Cully produce, and I really think people should see it. But he's got to work at his own pace, and it is still alive. It is slow. It is slow.
Okay.
So,
and I was going to ask this actually. I asked Douglas this off the air. Anything going on with options for Queen and Country?
So my understanding is that the movie, like the property, was bought back in 2005. So it's literally been 20 years since Fox acquired it, and there have been at this point, I think, double-digit screenplays.
Wow.
And there is, I believe, a new version currently being looked at. And, apparently Netflix wants to make a Queen and Country movie. And my suspicion is it will bear very little resemblance to the comics, except to have a character named Tara Chase.
Bummer.
With the idea, the books are out of print right now. I have the files. I would like to get them back in print. I've been talking, my editor on everything I do at Image is Alejandro Arbona. And he and I have been talking about what to do to get them back into print, and whether or not maybe coloring them is the way to do it, right? Because otherwise it's just releasing them as they were.
Sure.
And that's sort of a double dip, and asking, I ask people to buy the same thing twice, right? So
okay, go on.
It might be worth coloring it, but then the problem becomes, so on my creator-owned stuff, with only one exception, because I was young and foolish and had been had a bad experience prior. Everything I do through Oni or Image has a right split with all the collaborators.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So on Image, for instance, Michael and I share with Santi and with Alejandro and with Ariana and with Eric and now with Richard. Like, everybody gets a piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Queen and Country is the only creator-owned thing I did that was done as work for hire, meaning that I have the rights, but Steve Rolston, for instance, or Brian Hurt, or Carlos Speed McNeil,
Leandro
or Mike Hawthorne, or Chris Somney, or Leandro, like I can go down this list of amazing artists.
100%.
They don't have a percentage.
Okay.
And I don't feel, one, going in and coloring their work without their input would be extraordinary hubris.
Understood.
Two, I would want them to get their shares.
Sure.
I would want everybody to get their due.
Sure.
So that creates its own accounting nightmares,
Indeed.
right? Literally the accounting in that case becomes very difficult.
I understand that. Sure, there was a lot of collaborators. Absolutely.
Yeah. So trying to figure out how to do that is an ongoing thing. By the same token, Whiteout is out of print.
Oh,
Lieber
wow.
and I have been talking about, again, bringing that out through Image.
Okay.
And if we were going to do that, then do we do that like maybe with, I have a Last Carrie Stetko story, you know, do we actually try to do that? Do we want to do Whiteout 2025, you know, with
Why
Carrie
not?
standing on Antarctica as it breaks up beneath her feet? I don't know. I mean, so
That's hilarious. Absolutely, man.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm with Wraith, and truly, this is what excited me about comics 25 years ago. And Wraith says that he loves how the art made Queen of Country look in black and white for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too, man. And it just, well, and the same reason why I loved Lapham and Stray Bullets and everything too, was that there was room for black and whites in a modern setting.
Yeah.
And, but no, I get it, man. And truly, you really were blessed with a lot of you. I mean, everybody. I've met most of them, and you know, Carla, and of course Sonia and stuff.
And they're extraordinary.
Lieber, of course. You know,
they're extraordinary talents. And so, I mean, what I may do is just be like, no, we're not going to do anything fancy. We're just going to re-release them. We're just going to re-release them. We're just going to do them in full size. You know, instead of the little digest, we'll do them in a full size collections of 3 arcs or whatnot, and just re-release the series in black and white. And the spend on that shouldn't be too prohibitive. He says, knocking on wood and ignoring tariffs. So maybe there's a way to go.
I hope so. JD read it in Spanish and loved it, so that's cool. Yeah, man. And also, again, new audience, Greg. You know, I mean, truly, you know. And I'm glad to hear that you are considering essentially what you're talking about. And I know you know, Kickstarter, but essentially self-publishing, perhaps, with this new Atticus.
Yeah, that may be how it goes. Like, I'm going to give it till the end of the year, but if I can't get a publisher to bite on it, I'm proud of the novel. It's the longest novel I've ever written. It is. It comes in at 160,000 words. It still. That's big. That's over 500 pages, but it moves.
Damn. Cool.
Man. And I say this as somebody who's like set it down. Like, I finished it in February. And I've gone through it a couple more times and cleaned it up and tightened it and cut everything I could. I think it's like one of the best pieces of prose I've written.
That's great, man.
And for people who don't know my prose, I think it's a good entry. And for people who know Atticus, I think it will be a really satisfying novel. I think people who remember Walking Dead and so on will pick this up and they'll go, oh, I remember this guy. I get it, you know? Because it's basically Atticus with one daughter who is now 25, 26, and one daughter who's about to turn 12.
Okay.
You know? and then, you know, and then the past comes back, and and thematically it's about a lot of different things. It's about, you know, it's about trying to escape cycles of violence and abuse and survivorship. It's about the necessity to murder billionaires sometimes, and other things, you know. So I mean, yeah, there you
go. Zach, was this your futuristic kind of mech thing that he didn't know that came up yet, but he wanted to show some love for the Forged. He loved that oversized format. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Henderson is drawing issue 15, which is the last issue. And then we're going to be releasing the final 6 issues all monthly next year. But
that's great. You'll come back.
We're going to wrap it. Yeah.
Because that was the last time, you know, as we were talking, I'm like, wait a minute. We talked about Greg's. We talked about the Forged.
Yeah, no, that was the last thing we talked about. We talked about our heavy metal pastiche sort of vaguely transgressive women in power armor story. Yeah,
I'm hip. I thought that was great. Andy wants to know, what about the Everest project? I saw a preview comic and then nothing after that.
Yeah, that's because nothing
That's
happened
why.
after that, Andy. There was a lot of excitement about doing it, and we rushed to put it out, and it never went further. And I love Scott Morrison. I love Scott's art. I gotta say, I think part of the reason it didn't work for me is I don't think that was the right pairing. Um, I never really got underway, and I did a lot of research, but I never really started writing. Um, and then Scott went off and had a very satisfying career, Pixar adjacent and all these other things.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so Everest had sort of sat there on the back burner, and I don't know now, some 20 odd years later, if it is a story I'm ever going to tell. But I may. I mean, one of the things that is becoming clearer and clearer to me is each time I look at things and I go, "Oh, this is not going to be, and this is going to be." I never know. I never know. So
Diane wants to know if you'd come back to Kate Kane and Batwoman, given the current environment at DC.
Oh yeah, yeah. I absolutely would dig back in there. I am there. There are there's a short list of characters that they're always gonna get me to pop up like a groundhog out of a hole. Kate, and they're almost all of them are women. Kate, Diana, Renee, right off the bat.
Sure.
Will all get my attention. So
Well, and that's why it is good to see you doing what you're doing right now with Cheetah and Cheshire, and and also, Greg, I'm glad that the audience respond. I mean, as you said, maybe it's not selling that well per se, but whatever.
They don't know it's out there. I mean, they literally don't know it's out there. It's literally called Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League. If you're going down the aisle, you go Batman. And if you go Fraction Batman, oh my gosh, right? Because well, you should. I'm not throwing stones, right? So by the time the A's are all the absolutes, right? They're alphabetical. Here are your absolutes, and then you get to the B's, and here's Batman.
Yep.
And then you hit C, and you're like, what is this? And you're gonna skate on by it, and I totally get it, because literally it's a book about not A-listers robbing A-listers. So the only thing that's going to give the book legs is people finding it and going, "Oh, I'm really," and saying what King of New York just said, really enjoying Cheetah and Cheshire, right? And if people are really enjoying Cheetah and Cheshire, then they're going to tell other people they're enjoying it. This is going to be entirely a word of mouth book. This is not going to be a book that's going to be lifted by marketing, and I'm fine with that. It is a book that I suspect will do very well once it's collected in trade.
I hear you.
Yes. So
and King of New York, I don't know how many his store ordered, but he said that they were sold out.
Yeah,
that's the question.
All the copies were sold out. That's great. How many did they order? 2?
But I'm glad, much like Sterling, that Gotham Central is back as a compact comics edition. I assume that's that new DC Digest kind of size.
Yeah,
bigger than Digest, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's
cool.
Nice and a really good manageable size. I actually really like that edition. They did a really good job with the Elegy Batwoman stuff that I thought looked really good.
Oh, that's great, man. That's excellent. Again, thank you for. I mean, I was aware of Promethea, but I wasn't reading it. But I did read what you and Jim did with Batwoman.
Yeah,
and I've had Jim on a few times since then.
He is a staggeringly talented artist.
Yes, he is.
Talented artist.
Yes, he is. 100%, man. Let's see. Is there anything we haven't covered? Oh, wait, new comment. Yes. Well, Diane says the Elegy copy is super cool. Absolutely. With the matte paper. Yeah. And also, as I always used to tell you and Ed, I still got to get, I really got to bug you to get Michael on the show. Because I'd love to talk to Michael.
Good luck. He's in England now, so I mean,
that's all right. Well, I'll do it in the afternoon. I've been to the Europeans.
Well, I mean, you could actually probably do it, his morning, given how late you normally stay up. You're a night owl, so
but I'll even get up early to talk to Tom Taylor in Australia or Nicola.
So there you go.
For that matter. So yeah, absolutely. But no, what I always loved about Gotham Central was it was one of the last books that was still in ragstock, old-fashioned comic book paper.
Yep.
And it just added to the pulpiness of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
What do I know?
Yeah.
The hell do I know? You want to rap or
comic?
well,
I'm curious about Comic Artist Pro Secrets.
Let's see. Where is that? How far up is that?
It's 8:57.
Oh, I see it. Yes, indeed.
I'm trying to read that at the
height of Greg's fame.
Yeah,
he took on Gotham Police Department, a book that DC Comics had absolutely no interest in promoting. That's when I saw Greg being kind of bitter over there.
Yeah,
I wonder if this might be shame on me, and now I'm being a jerk. Damn it, I'm so sorry, and I know this person. It's I think it's
no. It's funny because
it's shame on me. This is no senility right now, everybody. It's the guy that drew Flash with Jeff Johns and Green Lantern, and of course Ethan Vance. It might be Ethan Van Sciver.
Oh yeah,
and I'm so glad. Yes, and as Zach Goyetz just said, I believe that's Van Sciver. Hello, Ethan.
Oh, well, hello, Ethan.
There you go.
There you go.
As I've pointed out on this show, I wish Ethan would not punch down as much as he has in the last 10 years. And that's my comment on Ethan Van Sciver. That's my comment, everybody.
I will say, if that was the height of my fame, that I have no idea. That was Ed and me in, what was it, the early aughts. I still remember us pitching that book, and Jeanette Kahn was still running the show, and it was Jeanette who okayed it because nobody else wanted that book.
Isn't that great?
We literally had people in that room being like, "Well, you have to call it Batman Gotham Central," and I was like, "No." Like Ed and I were new, but that was back when you could. That was back when Wizard was a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was again, and man, I have so much respect for her, and it bums me out that I haven't had the opportunity. I'm still holding out hope that I'll eventually get Jeanette Kahn on this show.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that would. I would love to hear that interview.
She came to Chicago for the Humanities Festival and had a wonderful sit-down interview with a live audience, and that is on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah.
So, and also Levitz interviewed her at San Diego within the last couple of years as well. So, yeah. Well, I remember when you and Ed at Emerald City did that great panel with, was it Ben Coleman?
Oh, Ben Coleman. Saunders. Ben
Saunders. Excuse me, Ben.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Again, sometimes the brain too much pot, Ben, and everybody else.
Also, there have been a lot of years, John. There have been
a lot of years.
Yeah,
but all right, a lot of love for Gotham Central right now in the chat, which is cool. What can I
stand by it.
Properly so, dude. Have you talked to Ed? I haven't. I luckily finally got Sean Phillips on Wordville a couple of months ago.
Oh, I will talk about having to get up whenever you had to do to arrange that. But yeah, and I haven't spoken to Ed in a couple of months, but he and I are in coinciding orbits at the moment. So
yeah,
I expect I will be seeing him soon enough.
I hope so, and I really hope, because again, I'm thrilled that he's back with a new criminal graphic novel.
Oh,
and, and that's why I was thrilled to finally get Sean on and everything. Again, more love for Queen of Country in the chat. And, cool. And someone suggested, obviously, should you ever come back to it, are there more stories to tell of Terra?
Yeah. I have had an idea for a QNC, like the next QNC story for a while. It would be, as somebody noted, King and Country.
Yes.
But the intelligence landscape right now is so broken. Like, it's so broken. I don't know what that looks like right now. Now, the way things are going, ask me in another couple of years and I'll know exactly what it looks like.
All right, fair enough. Zach brings up, and I'm so glad you brought it up, because Greg was one of the writers of the Amazon animated Batman Cape Crusader series. So how was it?
It was great. I mean, it was great. And it's funny because when Ed brought me in on it in season 1, it very much felt like closure for me, right? It was like, okay, this is sort of where it all started for me. So, it started with Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and Alan Burnett. And so it felt sort of like, okay, now I can end it here. That clearly is not what has happened. I've written episodes for season 2 and others. So it's been fun. They're great people to work with.
Do we know when it's coming out? Season 2? It isn't out yet, is it?
No idea.
All right, fair enough.
Idea. Yeah.
Comics Pals, obviously. Greg's such a brilliant writer and honestly raw speaker. I love this conversation. Oh, that's fine. Again, that's why we hope to talk to Greg and have. I mean, he doesn't have to go as raw as he did, but that's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we went pretty raw. I think that's probably a good note to wrap it up on, since we've been doing this for over 2 hours. So.
I know, my man. But it's great to see you, and I miss you, and I miss Jen, and I miss the kids, and and really they're not kids anymore. That's how long Greg and I have known each other. So yeah.
Yeah, you how old was Dashiell when you took her to the museum? 8, 9?
Yeah, I think even slightly younger.
Yeah,
and,
she graduated from NYU this year.
I'm hip, and also Evelyn, which I adore that Evelyn is taking my mother's name, which is fantastic.
Yeah. She's 25 and looking to go back to school. So there you are.
Hey, that's great. That's excellent, and I hope that all works out for Evelyn. That's wonderful to hear. And again, we want does Jen? And forgive me, this is really a Jen question. Would she ever come back to writing? Because I can't think of the last time she not to speak out of turn. She had been dealing with a lot of stuff. She has been writing a lot in the last couple of weeks. So now we'll see if whether or not that's going to be comics or something else is another question. But she is writing, and I am really hoping she gets to share what she's doing soon. Me too, and truly, I don't care what medium it is. I love her, and I miss her, and truly, I like Greg said, Well, when Jen brought Dash to Chicago, we had the best time, and it was so great, and it's still one of my best memories of hanging with the creator. So yeah,
I will absolutely pass it along to her. I'm going to be calling her after I get off this to say goodnight. So
fair enough. And Diane, very kind. She said that
everybody,
she doesn't normally listen to podcasts, but this, I think talking to you got her to listen, and I'm so glad that she enjoyed it. Yeah. And I'm glad everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it. That was an entertaining time, if nothing else. So.
Indeed. And tomorrow on Word Balloon, Mark Russell, another great Portland.
Man. Awesome.
One of my favorites. And I'll tell him you said hey. But Racer X, everybody, Speed Racer's older brother, as we all know, even though Speed doesn't know. I'm excited for his new book, and I'm sure there'll be other things to talk about with Mark Russell. Join us then. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.